Hello and welcome to Bookish Babes After Dark, Chapter 4. We've got to 4 chapters. Finally! This podcast is for all things bookish, whether it be dark romance, fluffy romance, romantic, all of them.
Everything.
If this week's book is not for you, please stick around and subscribe to our Spotify and YouTubes, as you can guarantee that there will be a book that is for you.
It's coming.
We've
got quite a wide range.
Yes. With that being said, this chapter's book is Come Out, Wherever You Are, by Harleigh Beck. So as always, we're going to do the official stuff first. So we have trigger warnings. So we have dubious/non-consent, somnophilia, graphic murder, humiliation, degradation, breath play, blood play, cheating, self-harm, confusion, suicide, and drug use. So, 1 year ago on a rainy night, I made a horrible mistake. A mistake that would haunt my every waking moment. I accidentally killed Nate, the star quarterback. Or so I thought. Now he's back from the dead, nothing will quench his thirst for revenge, not until my broken pieces lie scattered by his feet and he's inhaled my last breath. The only way out is in a body bag.
Yes.
So as always, start with our ratings and overall thoughts on the book. So mix it up, Jord. You go first.
I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5.
I think you did.
I did give it a 5. Yeah, it was just. It felt like a fever dream. Reading it.
Yeah.
It was so fast paced, but then it was kind of slow at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, Harleigh can do a plot twist like no one else. And I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Because even reading it twice, I was still like, what the actual fuck is going on?
We've all read this book twice.
Yeah.
And I still have so many
I know.
questions.
There's so many questions that just haven't been answered.
No.
Yet. And we're all sat here thinking,
Harleigh, I want answers.
what the fuck?
Yeah, because didn't you read it first and then you put it into the group?
I got an
to
arc
read it.
for it when it first came out, and then I was like, every man and his dog needs to read this. It was like she'd put a slasher film into a book, but then made it like psychological.
Yeah.
And I was still confused.
It was like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
That's like the best way that I can describe it, because it gave sort of like almost like Midsummer vibes.
Yeah.
That's what I felt whilst I was reading it. But then I also felt like I was on like a massive drug trip.
Yeah.
I really.
Like I had one of them wolf tablets in it. And I was like, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah,
excellent.
Obviously, you read it, recommended it to us.
Yeah.
We then read it, and then we had the bright spark of the podcast,
And was
then
like,
decided
we need
have to put
to
it on.
delve into this.
I needed to discuss
with anyone
then-
that'll listen.
with anyone.
So we all read it again
Yeah.
for the podcast.
And even then I was still baffled.
Yeah. I still just have so
I
many
think-
questions.
Yeah, I think you can recognise more and more. Probably
Yeah.
every time you read it, you'll probably be like,
You pick up more every time.
Shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
You could read it 100 times and still be like, what? I don't.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, just great.
I think I rated it 4 stars, and the only reason I bumped it down from a 5 was the last chapter made me feel icky.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird, wasn't it? It was a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd probably give it a 4.5
Yeah.
if I did
Yeah.
if I did half
stars.
half star.
Do a half star.
I can stick a half star in.
Yeah, like 4.5, but according to Goodreads 4.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck
yeah.
Goodreads.
I was a 5 star.
Oh,
Without that. Like the first read through, I sat and I read it in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was like, I can't put it down because I need to know what happens next. Like every chapter was a cliffhanger, and I was like, I can't stop.
Yeah.
It was
It never ended on a chapter where you thought, oh, I could stop it here.
yeah.
And then pick it up after.
No.
Because you can't do that.
Mm-mm.
You have to keep going through it.
Yeah.
You'll just lose your train of thought if you don't.
I think it was like 3 a.m. and my partner was like next to me in bed, and he was like, "Have you not finished that book?" And I'm like,
No.
"No, I have so many questions and so
I
many
need to
thoughts.
finish.
I need to finish it."
Even when you finish your line, I go, what?
Yeah, I actually think I had to take 5 minutes just to be like,
Shit.
"What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?"
Yeah.
The best part is that for me, the plot twist is literally like 20, no, probably less than that, 10 pages from the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
What?
I wasn't prepared for that. I was prepared for it back there.
Yeah, at least
when
in
I
the
realised
middle.
it wasn't coming, I was like,
Oh,
Hmm.
we're still
And then I was
got to
like,
keep going.
what? No. I didn't
Come back.
I didn't okay this.
I didn't sign off on this.
This is not allowed. This is not allowed.
She did it anyway.
She did. She really did. So, what was your favourite part of the book?
Shit.
And your least favourite part of the book?
Can I say all of it?
No.
Yeah.
I don't
You
have a
can.
least.
I do.
No.
At the end.
Well, yeah, no, I do get that.
Yeah, because it is quite. She goes straight for the throat.
Yeah.
I think.
I guess maybe the peeps
Mm.
will benefit from us explaining what the fuck happened.
I don't know what the fuck happens. Like,
So obviously in the blurb it talks about how like in a year ago she's driving this car.
Yeah,
And
she's
kills
in
the-
an essentially sort of drunk
hit and run.
/ accident
Type
with
thing.
her best mate. Hits Nate,
Who she's like
infatuated with.
mega crush
Yeah.
on.
Hits him, and then is it Evelyn or whatever her name is? Evelyn.
Yeah.
She's obviously in a panic and like, obviously we can't go to the police.
Yeah.
You know, we leave college, high school, whatever it is.
She gets her dad to
Yeah,
get her
we're
car,
so
doesn't
close
she?
to the
Yeah.
end, we can't give it up. You know, and she brings her dad in, and then it's like all problems have gone. You know, we'll
Mm.
sweep it under the rug. It's a
Yeah.
hit and run.
And then,
Think nothing more of it.
you know, a year later, they've all gone to his gravesite to
Mm.
go and almost celebrate his
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, because obviously all of their friends don't know that she did
Oh
it.
No.
And they all have theories about who
Yeah.
done it,
It's
don't
like,
they?
oh,
Like,
it's
they
a
talk
serial
to her,
killer.
yeah.
Oh, it's a drunk
Yeah.
driver. It's this
And
and
she's
this.
just sat there like,
I'll take one of them drugs, please.
I know. And she starts to struggle more and more
Yeah.
with what she's
Yeah.
done. And like it you can see like she's really not okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A psychology is just
All of
ticking
Yeah.
every so often, and then
And then
something just breaks in her.
Yeah.
and she starts seeing weird stuff, doesn't she?
Yeah,
She
she
starts
starts seeing Nate at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
And
it starts
even
with
then I
weird
was
things.
like, is he real?
Yeah.
Or is he not?
Well,
Well,
this
I
is
think-
the thing, you question it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just think, oh no, she's just thinking that
Yeah,
she's
she's
seen it 'cause-
hallucinating. She's having a bit of a shitty
Yeah.
time, thinking, you know,
Yeah.
the PTSD is really coming
Yeah.
back for her.
Because
But-
she looks, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And then she looks away and she looks back.
and then he's
there
like,
anymore.
not there now. Even I'm in the book, I'm like, did I see that?
Well, I'm pretty sure
Did I witness that?
I put it into the group chat and I was like, hold on a minute.
Wait a sec.
Is he alive or is he dead? Because, like, what the fuck's
Make
going
it
on?
make sense.
And I sat and I reread that chapter.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when she first sees
Yeah.
him. And I was like, right, what the fuck's actually going on? Yeah, sure, you've just taken this random pill.
Yeah.
But is it the drugs? Or
Or
is
is
he
he
back?
real?
Yeah. Because then she sees him when she's not on drugs, doesn't she?
Yeah.
When they're at the gas station
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she sees him.
And he turns up again.
And that's when I was like, oh.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, maybe it's paranormal. Maybe it's
Maybe.
ghosts.
Maybe
Well,
it's
that's what
ghosts.
I thought at first. I
Yeah.
thought he's going to come back and like
Mm.
haunt her in a weird way, but no, he's straight up like, bitches, I'm back.
Yeah. He literally, she wakes up, goes to school, walks through the corridor.
Because
and
he
he's just,
does a little fiddling with her while she's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, she doesn't know this though, does
No,
No.
no.
she? So he climbs in through a window,
Yeah,
does a bit of,
you know, the old sleepy tickle.
yeah, ends up
Sleepy tickle.
jacking himself off and spreading it all over.
That's it.
Doesn't he
Yeah.
spread it over her cheeks as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. And he cuts off her hair.
Oh,
Yeah. And leaves it on her bedside table. So
Yeah.
she wakes up in the morning like,
Right, you
what
can have
the
that.
fuck's happened here?
Yeah. She's like a glazed donut in the morning.
Whereas all I could think, you know, when he chops his
All I can
hair
think
off.
about is glazed donuts.
Whereas my head was, you know, when he cuts his hair off, I can just hear the quote of a midnight barber. Who do you think cuts your hair? No, it's just, it doesn't grow. No, I'm in there. I'm in there styling away.
Oh. And then she goes into school the next day and he's just stood there at the lockers
Yeah.
chatting to all of her friends.
As if
and then
nothing's happened.
and then it's like, wait a minute, so he is real. So then you get that in your
We've
head.
got
you're
the
like, he is real.
confirmation that he is
He's real.
alive. And
And
shit,
he's-
it's the fan with her.
Definitely not.
So then there's a couple of interactions with them, blah blah blah, and then
He
they
essentially torments her.
Yeah.
From then.
Yeah.
He's like, I know, it's literally, I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
You know, I know exactly it was you.
Yeah.
And I will come back for you.
And then they all arrange to go to this Halloween.
Yeah, they're like at a cabin, aren't they?
They're in a cabin.
Yeah, and then
everything just hits the fucking fan.
Well, before they go, who's the guy that's got like an infatuation with her? What's his name?
Dustin.
Oh, I felt awful for him.
So it first starts getting real fucking weird. This is when I messaged the group for the first time.
Yeah,
I remember it. And so he climbs in through a window.
Yeah.
And he starts like coming onto her.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Nate comes in through the window.
With a fucking door.
He comes in through the door.
Double barrel shotgun, yeah.
Yeah, with the gun. And then essentially blows his brains out. And I'm like,
what?
Did he really just fucking kill that guy?
And then he rails her next to the bed.
I'm sorry. What the fuck?
But I'm also like, as if the dad didn't just hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I thought.
Like, you've not only stolen his gun, which
you've already shot some dude in the eye.
And a dad's just, swinging away, asleep on the porch, like, and then it's like bang bang, and he just carries on.
It's when you find out what actually happens at the end, and you're like, oh,
now that
makes
sense.
Now it makes but it also doesn't.
That's why he didn't hear it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, but then
I'd have never guessed.
They go to the
cabin,
cabin house thing,
and then essentially the same thing starts happening with all of the friends. So it's the first one. Nate convinces her that she has to come on to.
She has to sleep with someone.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
So I'm at the. I think I might be at the. Hold on though. I highlighted.
It's not Max. It's the guy before him.
Yeah, no, I tabbed the deaths. I
had a tab for death.
I did.
She got the death tab.
Lewis.
Oh,
Lewis.
yeah.
So he says to her, "You've got to go sleep with Lewis, or I'm gonna."
He'll shoot one of your mates.
He's gonna go to the police and Evelyn in.
Yeah.
So she's like, right, okay. So then she takes him. He goes up to a room. Bear in mind, he's got a girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
She's downstairs,
which is where the cheating part comes in.
Bitch.
And she tries to come on to him. And then, of course, Nate comes in through the room, like,
he does like a full switcheroo.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, he wasn't the one that told
And she's
her.
like, mate, you told me to give him a blowy.
Yeah. And so he just goes...
You can't argue!
He goes, bang, bang. Oh, no, or is it a knife?
It's
I think it's a knife.
He kills him, regardless.
He kills him, regardless. Whatever way it
and
is.
she can't believe her fucking eyes.
And then she's like, dead guy on the floor. So she leaves the room, comes back, and...
because Nate tells her, I'll clear this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then she goes back later and he's not there.
Yeah.
And she goes downstairs to all the mates and goes,
trying to convince everyone.
So
Nate's going around killing people.
Lewis was stabbed in the neck.
That's it.
Because the blood splurted out, covering Nate from head to toe in blood. And I'm like, bro hit an artery. Like,
you nicked it.
Yeah, more than fucking nicked it.
So she goes downstairs to all the Evelyn and goes, oh, he's just killed this guy.
Yeah.
They go back up together and they go into the room and there's just
nothing there.
The floor's clean. Lewis isn't there, and it's
Nothing.
like.
So then she goes back down and asks everybody where Lewis is, and no one can give her a straight answer.
And
it's just like, and then that's when your brain starts going. It's like, okay,
am I tripping?
Yeah. Like, it literally makes no sense.
And she's like starting to almost. She's spiraling at this point.
Yeah, she's doubting herself,
because it starts with the bird that hits the window.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Nate's like, put it out of its misery.
You've got to kill it.
You've got to kill it. And she does. She bricks it one. And Evelyn's like, you know what? What's going on?
What's going on?
Turns around, the fucking bird's gone.
But then why was Evelyn like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
That's what.
Why was she like, oh, it's fine?
Unless she was just seeing her with this rock battering the ground with nothing there, and being like, what are you doing?
It was a bird.
Obviously, we know that that's not the case now, but this is where our minds.
Yeah, but do we?
Well. And then it escalates even further because she then goes outside and Max is out there.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they chatting? Is it like a platonic chat? Or
Yeah.
does Max try and come on to her?
Max comes onto her. Because she's sort of just... She's out there drinking, like, shit wine.
Yeah.
And And then he like turns.
Nate comes out of nowhere again.
He turns to her and like almost like caresses her face and goes to kiss her.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Nate's here.
Nate's basically like, trying your luck. I don't blame you, man. She's fine under that boring clothes.
And then he
And
just
she's stood there just going. And he
just launches him off the doesn't he?
Yeah, he like pushes him and then suddenly gone.
But then
And then she gets railed again.
Well, he starts fucking her, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then
Max climbs up and wears the
proper fucking Walking Dead vibes.
Yeah,
it gave me like like clickers from
oh god,
The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Where because he doesn't say anything. He just sort of like he's like slight head tilts type of thing, and I'm like, oh, bro, no, thank you.
Because she's basically, he was like, I told you, little killer, I'm here to destroy your life and everyone in it. Max had to die, sure. I didn't plan on killing him so soon, but then he touched you, and he touched what was mine. And she's like, you can't go around killing people.
And then he's like, here's another pill.
Have another one.
Have another one.
This'll fix it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, and then after that is when she goes back inside and she notices the in the hallway
the
pictures. And so she goes, frowning, I tilted my head and stared unblinkingly at the photograph, standing behind an elegant armchair in which an older woman sat, wearing an extravagant hat, were Max and Lewis. My gaze fell on the dates scrawled in the bottom left corner, 1923. So her friends that she had literally just seen murdered randomly appeared
end up in a picture
in the house, and it was like, what?
Because then it just gets progressively like weirder from that point, where because like she tries to run, she tries to escape, doesn't she? And then Nate follows her, and they end up at like a burned out car, and then that scene,
and it comes full circle to
that
it.
Burned out car is the car that she drove and hit Nate with.
Because it was sort of, you don't get any of the sort of twist until it's part 3, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
that you get into the twist.
Well, you notice throughout all of it, so I kept highlighting bits where it said, so is it this one here? And so Nate kept saying, sort of, when it got to this point, he kept saying, come out wherever you are, it's time to stop playing hide and seek with the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, again, it was, we can stop this anytime you want, you just need to step out from the shadows, stop hiding in here, he dug the gun into my head, come out wherever you are. And then obviously she gets into the car with Max and sees a wolf. So there's all these references throughout of this wolf, like on the pill that she gets right at the start.
The first reference of sort of a wolf, I think,
it's right at the beginning.
At the beginning, because I tabbed it. It's in chapter 20. It's on page 24. Is the first reference to a wolf. Because it says, on the top lay a small white pill of a wolf motif. I flicked my gaze up to her, arching my brow. Drugs. And it's like,
what?
Yeah, drugs.
From the get-go.
Yeah. And like, so obviously at the start, it's just that slight reference to a wolf. And I think all of us said that the first time we read it, we didn't get that.
No.
Because you only understand the importance of these little things when you get
do
to the
a
end.
reread it as well,
Yeah. And so obviously at the start, he doesn't say these weird things. You just see these random little references. But as it gets to this part of the book where
he brings it out more.
Yeah, where Max has died, it then starts being like, oh shit, he keeps saying stop hiding.
Yeah.
Come out wherever you are. You need to, what is it that he says? It's like something like you need to
she's like
be
stuck
honest.
in her own head.
Yeah. You need to get out of this or blah blah blah.
And she's basically saying this isn't real, Nate, none of this is. We'll wake up tomorrow and go home. And I will see you at school on Monday as usual. And he's like, I told you, the only way out
is in a body bag.
Mm-hmm. So you admit I hit you with the car. And he goes, there was no crash, Skylar. I'm right here, alive and uninjured. And she's like, you stayed in a hospital abroad? And he's just going, no, I never left. Like, you did!
What?
You did!
And then here, so on page 182, he said, the wolf will find you sooner or later, but not today. Nate palms the back of my neck and applied pressure until my heated cheek met the perfect lines of cocaine on the table. I stayed silent while he trailed the gun down the curve of my axe. You can end this nightmare, Skylar. Stop hiding from the wolf. I don't want to. And then he goes on to say that she had to pick who was next.
Yeah.
Who was next to die.
And she picks Alice.
She picks Alice. And he says, good choice. And slides the gun out from inside me. So he'd already had the gun inside her by that point.
Yeah.
Because before this, they did like Truth or Dare or something, and he was like, oh, I forgot to go with the gun. But he does it twice.
Yeah.
Because he does it then, but then he's done it before when he supposedly killed Dustin.
Yeah.
Because then, fucking,
what?
The plot twist.
What?
Yeah.
It's the plot twist that got me. Like,
Yeah.
you've read this part of the book already. This is the
where
plot
it hits
twist.
you.
Yeah. Because then, after he's killed Alice, it literally says, Alice's body toppled to the floor with a heavy thud. The photographs from the hallway appeared on the wall, but Max and Lewis were no longer alone behind the armchair. In the middle, with her hand on the woman's shoulder, Alice gazed into the camera with a severe face and sharp features. And then he says, you have to stop hiding before everyone dies. And then it literally goes into part 3.
And he does it again. He's like, why are you fighting it? And she's obviously completely pissed off now.
Yeah.
And she's like, why? If I'll die if I don't you get it? I can't face it, and I can't face him. And Nate's like, you're already dead.
Yeah.
And we're like, is she?
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she?
Who is him?
And then he keeps saying the witching hour's close, and then being like truth or dare, blah blah blah. And then at the end of the day, it says on the floor, Evelyn let out a shriek, laughing. The wolf is here. So Evelyn's going, the wolf is here.
Yeah.
The wolf is here, and it's just so fucking creepy. And then
She ends up
he kills her, doesn't he?
at the end, yeah.
Yeah, he kills her, and then she sees the flash, which I went in my head, well, like that's her going onto the picture.
Yeah.
And then it's part 3, where it gets fucking weird.
And then you actually find out the fact that Nate is dead.
Yes.
He is actually dead.
Yes.
And the fact that
Evelyn's
Evelyn's dead.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really interesting because this is where we start to understand, you know, he kept calling her Little Killer.
Yeah.
That he's not saying that because she killed him. She's saying that because of
She's killed everyone else.
everything else. So we then find out she's obviously in that asylum.
Yeah. So she killed Evelyn. So when they were driving home in the car, she hit Nate, and she was like, "Oh shit, he's dead." No. Turns out Evelyn died on impact.
Nate was alive.
Nate was alive. She dragged him into the car and set it on fire. So he basically burned alive.
Yeah.
But this is where my tinfoil hat theories come in.
Insert tinfoil hats.
So she goes on all of these shopping sprees with Evelyn, and she gets driven to school by Evelyn, and Evelyn drives her to this cabin they're staying in for Halloween. Evelyn's dead. Who's doing that?
Well, I think she's doing it all herself, but making it she
like
doesn't realise.
Out of body.
It's almost like she's got an imaginary friend that she doesn't realise where she's doing it, but in her head, she's seeing it as though she's the passenger and Evelyn's the one that's doing all these things.
Because then you get Mr. Wolf that comes in.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a random woman, isn't there? So the woman is just she just goes
is she like
is she like a
therapist or something?
Or like a reporter or something? Yeah. So she goes to this.
She comes in to see her, doesn't she?
Yeah, she goes into this asylum to see her, and
this Mr. Wolf's like, she hasn't spoken in years.
So Skylar Burns was one sick girl. You won't get a word out of her. She hasn't spoken to anyone since she was first admitted. It's all in here. She lives in her own world. Skylar Burns, 22 years of age, 17 at the time of the murders. So Skylar lost control of the car, careened down an embankment, blah, 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 kills the two of them. They ruled it an unfortunate accident, but her mental health progressively worsened until it came to a head Halloween a year later. Skylar and her friends stayed at a rented cabin where she murdered them all. She did, but not before she killed her boyfriend Dustin and her father back at the house. Shot them both dead with her father's shotgun. So literally, she was fine for a year, and then all of a sudden,
everything just snapped in her head.
And she killed her own dad, her boyfriend,
all the mates.
Yeah, and, then went to this house with her mates, killed them all,
did a whole slasher job in the house.
Yeah, and then
ended up in a loony bin.
And then she said something for the first time. So obviously she'd not spoken since she got into the asylum, and then obviously to the woman that had gone in to see. She said to her, "He's coming. The wolf is coming."
And then you figure out
who the wolf is.
Because the last chapter of the book, which can I just say, is not even a full page if you really think about it.
No.
The last chapter of the book
is like a page and a bit
Mr. Wolf's perspective.
It's the page.
And essentially, he's been going into this asylum, and
while she's been fully drugged.
Yeah, and just
doing all the
raping her.
Yeah. So Skylar Burns was dangerous enough to require shackles day and night. My cock liked that a lot. It liked subduing the monster hiding inside that sweet little package. She screamed when I launched myself at her and flipped her onto her stomach, gagging her with her bite shield. And then,
I just feel like, so it says from sort of like, I think it's round this point. It's when she first starts seeing Nate and she's like, "Oh, my psychiatrist would love this." And I'm like, "Oh, who's your psychiatrist?" Because then another one of my theories comes into play at this point, where I think that it was her psychiatrist that was coming into her house and into her bed, who was Mr. Wolf, and doing all of the stuff that she thought that Nate was doing to her.
Shit.
That's a good theory. And that's why she lost it a year later.
Harleigh, please
confirm, please.
Yeah, confirm.
Or don't. Just I want Skylar's redemption.
Yeah. They don't even come back from this.
I think she could go like full
psycho.
Yeah. The bit that was like thingy for me is like the last line, where obviously he's raping her essentially.
Yeah.
And says, "I told you that you couldn't hide from the wolf. Now be a little girl and good girl and scream for me." I was like,
not in a good way.
No. Like, I'm all about dubious and non-con, but the second it gets onto literal, like, I'm like, it makes me feel, and that one line in the book is what lost it half a star for me, because as much as it brought it full circle, I just hate reading about
straight up rape.
Yeah. Straight up rape. Like,
I just felt like I was on drugs whilst I was reading it. Like, I actually couldn't put this book down.
Yeah.
In a really dodgy way, I think it needed that last thing.
It did.
It did.
If it had just cut off,
it made it all make sense.
Of like her being in this asylum and that'd have been that, would have fully been left hanging of who the wolf is.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she put that in.
Yeah, it fully makes sense.
Yeah.
I just think for me personally, I prefer when it's implied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than when it's you fully read it on the page.
Well, it's like we've walked in on something.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't need to see that.
Sorry. But I hope she comes back and she's like,
So I feel like we've answered this question in which scene has stuck with you the most, and I feel like we're all going to say the last one.
Yeah.
Probably in terms of the twist, but are there any others? Any different one other than that one that sticks out to you the most?
It was when Dustin died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mine's the same. Because it's the first time where I was like,
I felt awful.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, like I'd been questioning her sanity at that point.
Yeah.
But then I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
But I just felt the whole book stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, there's just...
I mean, I know it stuck with me, considering I know that I've read this twice, which is once more than I normally read a book. However, it's been, maybe 4 weeks since I read this book, and I've just recited everything from it.
It's just burnt ear.
Yeah. That's how fucked this book is.
So good though.
It is really good, but just check your triggers.
Just go
in,
tiptoe in it.
Really do.
Like, if you're not ready to have to sit down with yourself and go, what?
Don't read it.
Skip it.
Yeah, 100%. So I would ask you some more questions. However, we've answered all of the questions in our very large discussions about the book. So
It's because everything's just a question.
Yeah. Everything
the
is
whole
a
book
question.
is a question.
She could just replace the cover with
A question mark. She should have put, come out, what the fuck? That's it.
Yeah.
And then at the end going, yeah, still what the fuck?
Yeah. Didn't answer any of your questions.
Yeah.
Did I?
No answers.
Do you want the answers?
No.
Tough shit.
Deal with it.
Not getting them. Oh. Okay, so that was Come Out, Wherever You Are by Harleigh Beck.
Yes!
The delight that is. I hope there is another one coming. Has she said that there's another one or not? Has she?
She's fucking better.
From when I messaged her on Instagram and I was like, "Hey,
What's the tea?
loved this. I have questions." And she was like, "Might be coming." I'm like,
What?
Don't do that to me.
It will be on the pod if there is.
Yeah,
we will be featuring it on the pod. So, yes. On to the next. Have you got something else you'd like to say?
there's a lot.
She's full of
But
questions.
There's a lot.
Questions, no answers.
I'm good.
Okay. So that brings us nicely on to our book recommendations of this month. So we normally have our unhinged book of the week, and then we have our book recommendations.
Thought we'd take a break.
Yeah, we thought
we'll have a breather.
Every fourth chapter, we will, instead of doing that, we will talk about books we've read within the past month to recommend them to you guys. So, book recommendations of this month. Take it away.
Oh, you can go first.
Yeah.
So, I'll put you in the spotlight.
Treat us.
Okay.
Sounds
So,
some goods.
I absolutely loved, there was a duet of books by Emma Scott, and the first one was called Full Tilt, and the second one was called All In.
Yeah.
And I'd not heard anything about them on TikTok, because obviously it's normally where I find all my books. I'd heard nothing about them. Funnily enough, I saw it for the first time maybe 2 days ago. Someone made a TikTok about them. Honestly, I think I can't remember if I rated the first one 4 or 5, and the second one 4. One of them was 4, one of them was 5. Either way, I would highly recommend reading both, because it's a continuation of the story. Yeah. They're not standalones. But Full Tilt is a rock star romance, but curveball, the female is the rock star.
Ooh. What a slay.
Yeah. So she's a rock star, and she's got like a bad relationship with her parents because she was a bit naughty when she was younger. To be fair, they sound like dickheads because she wasn't really that bad. Right. And they were just like, yeah, off you go by yourself.
Oh.
So,
difficult parent then.
Yeah. She deals with it through drugs and alcohol. So she's got, quite bad addiction. And then the MMC is the limo driver for when she's being picked up or dropped off at this event.
Mm.
And she gets absolutely out of it, and so they put her back in this thingy and drive her off. And then
quick editor's note here: if you don't want any spoilers for Full Tilt or All In, please skip the next 3 minutes within the podcast. Thank you.
And for some reason, he ends up taking her back to his.
Of course.
There's a genuine... No, but it's like in a really nice way.
Oh, no.
There's a genuine reason why he takes her back, because he's not comfortable with leaving her wherever it was, like
green
by
flag.
herself. Yeah, big green flag. So he takes her back to his, and she's like asleep on the sofa, and then like wakes up in the morning, and she's like, oh, because she normally uses sex as a crutch as well. And so they get kind of chatting and stuff, and she's like, I just want a bit of a break. I don't want to have to go back to this house. Do you mind if I stay here for another night? And he's like, yeah, sure. But he's like, I've got this, I've got a deadline. I've got this thing I've got to stick to. And he blows glass.
Oh.
So he makes glass. And so, yeah, they basically end up falling in love with each other. And it's really cute, really quick. And then she finds out that he's got a deadline with this glass blowing because he's dying.
No.
Yeah. So he's trying to
finish. You just out here hurting me.
Yeah, finish this. Sorry, I might have just given away a big
part. People are going to read it now.
Spoilers. But even so, I would still read it. And it's really, really lovely. And it comes really full circle when at the end, when he does die, he says to her, like, you promise me that you'll love again.
Oh.
Because obviously they've only known each other like a few months at this point. And yeah, he says, promise me that you'll love again. and then he's got a brother as well, and he says to, so yeah, there's like, it kind of leaves it on a bit of a thing, because obviously he dies, and then that's it. There's the brother and his mum and dad that she's obviously now kind of been taken into their family. It kind of leaves them, so you're like, oh, okay. And then All In starts up again, but she's moved away from Vegas, which is where they're based, and she's moved to where is it? It's the carnival-y place in America. There's the, why can't I think about it?
New Orleans.
That's it, New Orleans. So she's moved there, and she's just doing like stand-up kind of gigs at this pub, and she never tells anybody about her. She's not told his family where she's gone. She's just literally walked out. But she's got so bad again on the alcohol that a bartender at the place where she's at is like, you need help. So he's taken little tiny clues from things that she said and managed to track down the brother, tells him that she's there. He comes back, and then all on this, like, it's dual POV, so you get to hear his side as well. Through the whole first book, he was really standoffish with her, and it's because he'd fallen in love with her.
Right.
And when his brother died, he said to him, I know how you feel about her. I give you the okay to... And it's all about their story.
Stop it! I feel like I'd have to be in the right emotional headspace to read a book like that. And then cry afterwards.
It is honestly so beautiful, because it takes you through this whole, like, horrendous, heartbreaking thing, and then everything comes full circle.
I love it when a book does that.
Yeah.
When it absolutely rips you to shreds, and then at the end it's like, I'm so sorry.
Here's what you wanted.
I fixed you.
Whereas, like, I've read a book that would, like, rip me to shreds, and it was just like,
just like,
I deal with it, and
sorry.
So yeah,
I kind of meant it.
Yeah, they just did something to me. So Emma Scott is now...
She's up there.
She's up there, and I want to read some of her back catalogue. But getting time to do that with a TBR of over 600 is hard work. I'm being ruthless and deleting books left, right and centre at the moment. So yeah, they're my top recommendations. 100% it's a series to read. Even though I've given you a slight spoiler. We'll have to put spoiler across the screen before I start talking.
That's fine. Yeah. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
She'll work it. She'll work a magic.
There's something you can do to bring me back from just spoiling the book for everybody.
I'll insert time frames from like where people can
skip from and to.
Yeah.
Right, so next. You guys?
Want me to go?
Yeah.
So, last month I read Hawk and Kid by Jessie Hall.
Are they like in the same series, or are they completely separate books?
They're in...
They're sort of a standalone.
Yeah, it's not a standalone, but
they
they also connect.
Yeah.
I wish I would have read Hawk first.
Yeah.
And then read Kid. But I didn't. I read Kid
Never
first.
mind.
And
I'll be taking that recommendation on, and I'll be doing Hawk first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kid was like... It was a lot of sort of like emotional trauma. And I really felt for Kai and Han.
Yeah.
Just because of all of the shit that they went through, and the fact that they both lent heavily onto drugs to sort of cope. And the fact that Kai has Hawk there as sort of like his backbone.
Oh, yeah.
As like his best mate. And then you read Hawk and you figure out why, and you're like, oh my god, I'm not normally one for a cheating trope, right? I absolutely hate it.
I think we all do.
But it's done
beautifully
in Hawk.
Patrick's a little bitch.
Patrick is a wet wipe.
You've got to absolutely hate the person that you're cheating on.
You do from the absolute get-go.
Yeah, Patrick's a wet wipe, and I could not stand. I was convinced that he was cheating on her when he was going on these
things for work.
Yeah, I was completely convinced with the fact that he wasn't messaging her back, he wasn't bringing her back,
and he showered after he had sex with her.
Yeah, that
every time.
Wet wipe.
He was like, oh,
genitalia. Every time he'd like touch her,
he'd shower.
He'd like shower or go wash his hands.
Cole was like,
we like a man that's like,
I'm gonna slap this up. I'm gonna moisturising this shit.
And that's what Hawk is like.
Oh, yeah.
Hawk literally will sit there and go, Yeah, I can do that again.
We like a man that wears us like a hand puppet and rocks the fact he's worn us like a hand
Oh,
puppet.
he did. He wore her like a fucking puppet.
Magic fingers.
It was so. Like, I don't want to spoil these books at all because I absolutely loved it. I love Jessie Hall's work anyway. Oh yeah. Like, even in the prologue that we did, I said that Sick Love is my favourite. I have read that book 5 times.
I'm about to dive
Chef's
into
and I am going to read it again, and I'm so excited.
I'm about to dive into her work because I've not read anything.
She knows how to write a good MMC.
Oh yeah.
But she also knows how to write a good FMC as well. Like, her characters are so well-rounded and they've got their own personality.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, sometimes where you read a book and you're like, okay.
And the FMC is very flat, isn't she?
Well, I was just about to say this is a slight tangent, but isn't it weird how if an MMC is shit, we cannot read the book, but if an MMC is good and the FMC is shit, we can
still go along with it.
Yeah, I look past it.
Yeah. So the sign of a good book is when both.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd highly recommend any of her books. My next one is
Green Light.
Oh yeah, Green Light. Yeah, but we don't have a date for that yet.
I know, but she better hurry up.
It's is it Canary Cowards?
Oh, Canary Cowards. Oh my god, that's so heartbreaking. I'm sorry.
So might have to put that on a back burner.
Sorry.
Let's wait until my mental space is in a great place.
It's good though.
But I love her work. So I just need Green Light. I need that book like I need oxygen.
I get so stressed when they do these episodes because I'm like, I need to read everything all at once. Why can't I have 5 brains and read 5 books at the same time?
Yeah.
I need more eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
And hands to hold them.
All of the hands.
What is your what's your rec? Come on.
So it literally, I don't even know. Oh, I found it on Instagram, as you do. It come up out of nowhere. Somebody had reviewed it or something like that, and all I saw was snuff films. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. That's nice. Yeah. So I thought, I'll go on the author's Instagram, have a little dabble about. Yeah. Right at the top, it said extended trigger warnings. So I was like, so we've added more to what was already on. Said trigger warnings goes on, and it's like a whole fucking shopping list, isn't it? One after the other, and it and it was literally snuff films, child abduction, gang rape, all bodily things that shouldn't happen to other people's bodies, weird utensils, speculums, acid.
Acid?
Yeah. And I was like, that sounds right up my street, that does. That sounds like a nice little romance for me.
What's she do with our speculum?
Well,
what's she do with the acid?
Let me tell you the fucking title. So it's called Bathed in Blood by Callie Moss. And from the first page, so we meet Lana right at the beginning, and she is basically, she's like a masked sort of like killer in these snuff films, and she's basically hired by these 3 brothers, and they've taken over the whole sort of like empire of snuff films and really dodgy pornos and stuff like that. And every man and his dog knows her. They're all like, we want in on her, we want her on this film, we want her on this. And she's basically brought in, and how she ends up there is, so her mum and her brother's a drug addict, and lends money off the 3 brothers, knowing that he can't pay it back. So they take his sister as payment, turn her into this like absolute psychotic killer. And she's like, this is my job, I have to keep my brother safe, I have to keep my mum safe, this and this. Goes on to the first page. And let me tell you, when it says graphic detail, it means graphic detail. Like, it's like I was watching a snuff film illegally.
So it's really important that you watch your check
your triggers.
Oh,
yeah.
before going into it.
The triggers from the first page to the last page need to be in like bold, italics, on fire,
Big flashing
neon
lights.
signs, everything that says this is wow. So she's first page, she comes in, you know, these three brothers all have a bit of a one's quite alright with her, the other two are not. So they're like, right, you know, we're filming this and this. She comes in, they've got a dude strapped to a chair, ass up in the sky, you know.
Right.
So she's got a speculum, like you're having your smeared, she cranks it up, doesn't she? In his ass, I must say.
They're not designed for that.
No, they're not. So she just...
I'm squeezing people.
But so was I. I was wincing the whole time.
Clenched the whole book.
She just pops it in there, doesn't she? You know, grinds it open. Acid in the book. Yeah? And I thought, what a fucking journey. It starts foaming and bubbling and everything.
It's an ass volcano.
It is! And it just gets
And when I see
progressively worse.
in my head, when you mentioned acid, I see green acid. Therefore, it's a green ass volcano.
And she's basically describing it saying, that fucking stinks. Your ass is falling apart.
Well, in theory, it's like melting flesh.
Yeah, but I thought
And
she
you're
just,
in- and you're
I thought
inside.
she meant before the thing. I was like, what
Probably.
do you expect? It's his ass.
You know. So yeah, he's sat there. She's just there jogging shit.
How is he alive?
Blood.
Yeah, he's not after a bit.
No, I don't think he would be.
And it gets progressively worse.
But you enjoyed it, right?
Oh, it was fucking great. It was so good.
See, this is why
Whoa.
I love books and reading. Because
Oh,
I probably wouldn't read that book.
oh.
No, I feel like we've got an episode coming up with a book that we've all read. You were like,
No.
and we were like,
Yes. The whole book, I read it in one sitting.
I think we came to, because we were discussing the book that is coming
Yeah.
at some point we won't tell you about. And for me, I need some form of romance within a book.
I don't.
Unless it's like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
But that's
Well,
different to me.
this Bathed in Blood, it there is romance in it, if you want to say that. So obviously she's part of this thing, and you know this dude comes along, and it's a whole plan, it's a whole like ploy and stuff like that. But anyway, she's quite quick-witted and she's quite funny with him, and obviously one of the brothers that rapes her ass nearly falls out, and she's like, "Well, Christian knows that I've got poopy problems now."
I think
That's
I have.
the problem.
I think I have now. You
He's
just grabbed that
like,
book.
I've got tablets to
Sort that.
help you shit, and she's like, no thanks, because my ass is falling out. Because the book one.
She takes that. She's gone.
Oh shit!
I need
My
some-
ass has fell out.
I need someone to put a muscle back in.
Will you push it back in? But he's all for it. Christian's like, oh my god, I love you so much. He like force marries her as well in the church. She just turns up and she's like, why me? And he goes, marry me. Sure. There's all sorts of tools involved, and
Well,
would recommend.
what was the name of that book again? So
It's Bathed in Blood.
okay,
By who?
Callie Moss.
that's
If you just want for research purposes.
that's definitely not going on my Kindle.
Oh my god. Oh
That
no.
sounds like
It's got a
really-
cracking playlist as well.
Oh,
I think I need to do some form of meditation or
I
something
would.
after some of the things that we discuss on here.
Yeah.
It's okay, no one's going to come and kidnap me in the night.
Your ass is
Shove
not gonna fall
acid
out.
into my ass.
Oh.
I'm going to sleep like clenched.
My book must stay in.
I will not move.
Anyway, 4 stars, would recommend.
And that was Bookish After Dark. Yes! A lot of the After Dark bit coming out today.
Yeah. It was more than dark.
Yeah, so thank you all very much for watching.
Chapter 4, done.
Especially
done.
Especially if you lasted this long.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure I did.
You made it
checked out
past
halfway
the acid.
through.
So well done. Gold star for you. So yeah, that was chapter 4.
Yes.
So please do us a huge favour. And like I said at the beginning, subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify so you can hear more of our delightful, or what do they describe it as, our dulcet tones in books.
Give us a review, comment,
Yeah.
like, summit.
Yeah. Interact with us. We love when people interact with us. Because
we are constantly there. We will reply to your comments. We're more than willing to have a natter with you in the comments.
Yes,
exactly. But you can follow us on... I am planning to get all these right this time.
Go on, you got it.
Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Slay.
Woo! Fucking bastard. So yeah, that's it, guys. Hold on.
Peace out.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.